Steven, what the hell was that?
It was a simulation. It didn't happen.
Wow, to go from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs. And if I could be hyperbolic for a second,
Oh.
uh,
Uh-oh.
I don't know what the new Raiders play-by-play guy's call was, but if it was anything short of the late great Bill King in a holy roller fashion, the Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. McDaniels wants to know if it's real. The official tells him yes. Get your big butt out of here. He does.
I don't think he sounded exactly like that.
Well, he should have.
Jason Horowitz is the guy's name.
Yes, I forgot.
So that's the new play-by-play guy's name, and they actually post it every single time, so you're going to see it. But
it better be good, Jason.
Yeah, I thought you were, when you said you were going to not try to be hyperbolic, I thought you were going to try and say that was the craziest ending that you've ever seen.
Greatest Raider win of all time? Not likely, no.
the greatest closing of a game that you've ever seen.
No. Listen, there's a lot of greatest of all time said this weekend. We'll get to it all, but first and foremost, welcome everybody to Just Your Post-Game Show, man. Steven and I were supposed to do a show yesterday. We were going to run through all the games, but Steven was feeling a little under the weather.
Yeah.
And this morning, we were supposed to do a little pregame show for you, as we do every Sunday. But then again, the World Cup was exciting, and we'll talk about that later as well. Greatest World Cup of all time. We'll talk about that later.
It probably was the greatest.
I'll take your word for that one.
Well, there's been not that many finals, Derek. So, you gotta take that into account as well. These things happen every 4 years. So it's not like there's a lot to choose from.
I understand that. But I'm glad we waited until now to do this because this is insane ending to the Raider game. If you didn't see what just happened, it looked like another blown fourth quarter lead. The Raiders were up 17-3 at the halftime, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, no, that's not where you want with the Raiders." And sure enough, they blew the lead. And we'll talk about Derek Carr and everything. I thought that he did not play well today. I will be completely honest, and we'll talk about that further. But they give up the lead. The Raiders offense couldn't do anything in the second half, and sure enough, the New England Patriots come to take over that game, 24-17. Then there's 4th and 10. After the offense can't do most of anything.
Right.
4th and 10. Mac Hollins catches a pass. Then they drive a little bit. Keelan Cole catches a touchdown that you can question whether or not it should have been a touchdown because it looked to me.
I don't know if it was.
It looked to me like his foot was out of bounds. Nevertheless, not conclusive evidence, and the Raiders tie the game at 24. And I don't know what they were doing, but the New England Patriots get the ball back. Ramondre Stevenson was running all over the Raiders the whole game. He gets a run up in the middle, and then they start doing pitchy woo-woo, as Scott Van Pelt calls it.
Right.
And you would have thought years ago when they gave up a touchdown to who was it? Drake. Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
Who was on the Raiders, now on the Ravens, but used to be with the Miami Dolphins. When he won a game in regulation on one of those crazy pitching plays, the Patriots tried to do the same thing, and sure enough, I think it was Jacoby Myers, throws it up in the air, and it is picked off by Chandler Jones, who's coming up big lately, and he runs it into the end zone with no time remaining.
Yeah.
One of the more crazier endings in Raider history.
Yeah, I was, first off, I was dreading that we were going to have to wait till overtime to do this. I'm like, oh my gosh, can we just, what? I just, I want to do the podcast, but I also want to hurry up and get this going here. It's like, geez, we got to go to overtime. It's just.
Well, Steven, if they went to overtime, I like their, see, it's crazy when they have, a 14-point lead, they blow it. But when they go to overtime, they're 2-0.
Right. It's weird. Yeah. And what was it like? Didn't they say they on the broadcast, they were like 4-0 or something like that? Like in the Derek Carr's career or something. I don't know what it was, but anyway, continuing on. The funny part to me about that whole thing was like Jacoby Myers and Ramondre Stevenson were the two guys who were like doing the most for the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Like what was Mac Jones's completion at the end? It was like 13 for 31 for like 104 yards or something sad like
112.
that. for 112. He was 13 going on
And
13.
I like the R&B group, but not for passing yards.
And
Peaches and cream.
and like, you know, after that touchdown to give them the 24-17 lead, or the touchdown then to 2 points to give them a 24-17 lead, like Myers, I don't know what the breakdown was with Hobbs going one-on-one with Myers, but he absolutely beat him. Myers beat Nate Hobbs on that one-on-one play. And then on that 2-point conversion, just got absolutely fooled when they stacked 4 wide receivers to the other side. Like, I just didn't think that the Raiders were going to have much of a chance. But then, like, you know, after Keelan Cole scores that touchdown, it just felt like the momentum shifted in some way. But what was Myers doing? Like, why are you running back and then throwing all the way across the field? It was the longest pass completed for the Patriots all night.
Not quite.
All day.
But Jacoby Myers got open on that long, reception to give him the go-ahead touchdown.
Yeah.
And funny enough, he has that blunder. But yeah, dude, I don't know. That is an all-time fuck up. In all honesty, Ramondre Stevenson should have just fell to the ground, because at that point, if you're the Patriots, like, why not just go to overtime?
Right.
And also, like, I don't know how you feel, but just listening to that broadcast, it sounded like the Patriots fans took over the stadium. And that's a problem that Raider Nation's going to have to deal with in Vegas for a long time. But regardless, let's talk about the game today. Chandler Jones. We talked about this guy being a huge bust for the Raiders. He was given the huge contract. And up until, I think, a couple weeks ago against the Chargers, he had half a sack. And he had 3 in that game against the Chargers. And now he has a fumble recovery for a touchdown that will go down as one of the more crazier endings to a football game. Now, as far as the greatest ending to a football game of all time, I still believe I have never seen anything like when Alabama and Auburn played in that game in 2013, the Iron Bowl, where the kick 6 was turned back all the way. To me, that's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And the Kenyon Drake one a couple years ago. But obviously, Raiders have been a part of some of these in history. Immaculate Reception, which the 50th anniversary is coming up a week from Saturday. And of course, the Raiders will be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers on Christmas Eve. You got the Holy Roller. You got a bunch of memorable games. But this is, I mean, I'm not going to put this game in the same category, but just for the here and now, I was expecting to come on here and say the Raiders have lost another game, their 5th, game they've blown with 14 points or more and at halftime. And they found a way to win this game. And I think it was more of the Patriots blundering it, obviously. But Derek Carr came up big with the touchdown pass. Got to give kudos to him. I am going to talk about his performance today, and I was a little disappointed. But we'll talk about it all. But, Steven, just your thoughts about the game today.
Yeah, overall, man, like, to be honest, it's just both these teams they weren't very good. It didn't seem like the offenses just weren't clicking. Like, besides the run game, they were running Jacobs. They gave him like 23 rushes or whatever it was for just under 100 yards. Like, they just kept on feeding him the ball. But other than that, like in the second half, when the Raiders, had chances, it's just nonstop conservative play calling. And then sometimes when Derek Carr tries to go deep downfield, like, there's times where he just looks confused, where he doesn't look like he's in sync with the receivers. That one with Waller, like, good Lord, the one where it was going to Adams and then Waller came through and accidentally tried to catch it. Like, we've seen that before, but that's just a total miscommunication. Like, it's not like we've never seen it, but that's what happens, I guess, when your star player has been out for so long. I thought the Raiders defense was fine, but overall, I thought this game, the definition of it, but the way that you categorize it as is like, these two quarterbacks just weren't very good. Mac Jones was not good, and Derek Carr wasn't good. Like, that's kind of how you got to look at that. Like, it's not like the defenses on either side were unbelievable. Max Crosby made a couple of nice plays, not letting Mac Jones run for the first down. That was nice. Cutting him off. But other than that, like, just like that pick 6, I'm not even going to blame that on Derek Carr. Like, that was just straight up where the defense understood what was happening, and he clearly was watching film and knew that they were going to go to Adams right away. I don't know. Like,
I blame that on Josh McDaniels.
Yeah. It was just a story of 2 bad quarterbacks, and somehow it ends with that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, dude. And by the way, the Mac Jones naked bootleg reminded me of when Peyton Manning ran right by Matt Shaughnessy right for the touchdown.
Yeah. That one makes me
God.
laugh because of the way that his shoulders move on that play. I
Yeah.
just watched that recently. I don't know where that popped up, but I watched that the other day, and it's just the way that his shoulders like tilt back and forth every time he's running. Anyway,
So I'm with you, Steven. For the most part of this game, it was kind of a microcosm, if you will, of their entire season.
yeah,
So they're up 17-3 at halftime, and it's the normal thing of this season is will they maintain this lead in the second half? And they don't. Derek Carr throws that pitch six to Kyle Duggar. I don't blame Derek Carr for that play. That is a predictable play that Bill Belichick saw in film, and he told his defense, be aware of it.
right.
And this is on Josh McDaniels again, where I don't want to be all gloom and doom because the Raiders won this game first and foremost. But I was ready to come on here and be like that because I was not impressed at all with the offense in the second half.
Yeah,
Now, we've been talking the last couple of weeks, and I was talking about if there's a possibility the Raiders go on a winning streak here and make it to the playoffs. And I still don't think that's going to happen. They were lucky to win this game today. It's a memorable play, and it's one we'll talk about for a long time. I don't know what we'll call it, the holy lateral. Evan, our guy, just suggested that to me, but we'll see about that. Um, I was not impressed with the offense in the second half. It was pretty much basic offense. And what I was talking about with you before was that maybe we'll see a carryover to next season, which is good play right now from the offense. And I think the team that's exhibiting that the most right now is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
right.
And they have a chance to still win the division. The Tennessee Titans have lost 4 in a row, and they are one game back from tying them for the AFC South lead. But and if they don't make the playoffs this year, I think that they've done enough to show that they're going to be a good team going forward. I still don't know about that with the Raiders, to be completely honest.
Mm.
Um, Darren Waller and Hunter Renfro come back today, and obviously Darren Waller scores that touchdown, and it was right down the middle, good play. But besides that, it was the basic stuff of let's try to throw to Devontae Adams. Okay, Devontae Adams isn't open. Let's throw to Matt Collins. Okay, he can't catch a pass. Let's just run it with Josh Jacobs. There was no
Right.
creativity whatsoever. When you're coming off a horrendous loss the week before to the LA Rams, and you have a mini bye week to prepare, and you're getting these guys off of injury, I thought you would incorporate them more in the offense. Everyone's talking about, I don't know his name, but 25 for the Patriots shutting down Devontae Adams. I don't think he was shut down. I think he was just, targeted once or targeted twice and caught one pass.
Marcus Jones.
Marcus Jones caught
Yeah.
the punt return versus the Jets a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
I just thought that it was basic offense. If Devontae Adams isn't open, then you got to find ways to give the ball to Darren Waller and a Hunter Renfro. Derek, you and I were talking about this, I think the last episode, where should this be the last season with Derek Carr? And I was ready to come on here and say, maybe it is time, but only if you have a good backup plan. I
Right.
don't like this idea of Tom Brady, who the Buccaneers just pissed down their leg today in the second half.
It looks like from reports that Tom Brady's not even going to. It's probably most likely that he's going to retire. So we can probably throw that out the window.
We'll see. He retired last season, but I hear you, Steven.
Yeah.
I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is an upgrade. It's just you can't go into this. You can't go into next off season like the Colts did, where they just got rid of Carson Wentz and then didn't have a backup plan. If you're going to move on from Derek Carr, you got to tell me you have a good backup plan to replace him. But little things that Derek did today, like not knowing that the clock was running down, the delay a game, dude.
Right.
You are in your 10th season in the NFL. You can't just be like, "Oh, I thought you guys gave me more time." He does that constantly.
Yeah.
Does that constantly. You got to be aware of the game. You have to be aware of the game and what's going on. You can't blame the officials. It is on you as the leader of the football team. And there's just things that, why is he still not on the same page with Matt Collins or Devontae Adams? Now, granted, yes, he did score that touchdown with Keelan Cole. It's questionable they should have got that in the first place. But sometimes I completely understand that Bill Belichick knows Josh McDaniels very well. They've been together for most of his coaching career. And Bill Belichick knew what to do in the second half. But as Josh McDaniels needs to know, he needs to adapt the game plan. And also, Derek Carr needs to be a great quarterback. Not a good quarterback, but a great quarterback where he needs to make plays and adapt to what's going on in the game. It can't be just like, well, shit, I don't know what we're doing out here now. It has to be on you, and it has to be on the coach. That's what great quarterbacks do. I don't think Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or even Tom Brady in his heyday go, well, damn, they know what we're doing. No, you got to adapt. You got to change.
Well,
so
my thing is too, man, is I'm looking at these quarterbacks from today, and I'm looking at Justin I keep going back to this, but it's like Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes.
All great performances today, by the way.
All fantastic today. Just constantly. Like, I know the Chiefs and the Texans shouldn't have been tied, and they shouldn't have gone to overtime, but still,
sometimes though.
That's what happened, and the Chiefs won. They still won. That's what happens. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. You already mentioned them. They're on the up and they're coming up now. Like, if the Raiders want to compete in the AFC, it just doesn't feel like moving forward with Derek Carr is going to be the answer. That's really what I come back to. And I know that having a backup plan, like, they might not have one, but like, they got to try something, because it's been 8 years, and I like Carr. I do. And I actually got something I want to play for you later on to kind of prove, like, okay, yeah, you need to get this guy out of the AFC West. I'll play that for you later. But just as far as this game, like, the stats all relatively similar. Patriots had more first downs, 19-18. The Raiders were better in third down. The Patriots are terrible in third down. The Patriots only 2 for 13, while the Raiders were 5 for 14. The Patriots had more total yards. They were the same on the amount of drives. Average yards per play, about 5. The only difference really was the passing versus the rushing. Obviously, the Patriots' rushing numbers were a lot higher, but still, total yards are relatively the same. And I'm also looking at this number, and this is something I've been really down on these past few weeks. It's the penalties. Like, constant stalling of drives it feels like almost every single drive, there's a penalty somewhere. I don't know if it's on, like, Hronis granted, they had their backups in today, but, like, if it's on Hronis Grasu or Colton Miller or whoever of these offensive linemen, their offensive line was terrible today. Like, Carr was awful, but also, like, just in general, I didn't think the overall team was very good. And when it comes to McDaniels in the offense, I thought Jonathan Vilma actually made a good point toward the end. Like, put Adams in motion. Like, make the defense think a little bit about what you're going to do with him instead of just keeping him on the outside. And
yep.
I know he has that whole thing where it's like, I got 3 different ways that I'm going to beat you with every single concept that you're throwing at me, but put him in motion. Do something. Don't just line him up and then have him guess exactly what you're going to do and then try to get it to Mac Hollins. The amount of times that they threw, I like Mac Hollins a lot. He's a great dude. Like, he really is. I like him as a receiver, but not as a guy who's getting the ball 3 straight times in the fourth quarter. So, like, there's a lot of frustrations there. And then, like, the funny part is with that, just the stiff arm on Mac Jones by Chandler Jones, that was just, the trampling. That was just too much. But it feels like
when he caught the ball, I was like, oh man, is he gonna get tackled here? And I was like, well, he's gonna run through Mac Jones.
Yeah,
shit, no one's gonna catch him.
Poor guy. But, like, to me, like, the only way the Raiders can actually win is by one of the most just strange endings to a game ever. It's just, like, that's really what it came down to in this one. It was just, very frustrating. And the fact that we are talking about this, what are we in week 15? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're week 15 right now. The Raiders are 6-8, like, Patriots are 7-7. These teams deserve to have those records. That's really what it comes down to, man. So I love the ending. But it's also proof that, like, some of these teams need to make changes. Like, for example, the Patriots need to be rid of Matt Patricia. I don't know what they're doing with him at offensive coordinator. Him and Mac Jones are clearly not on the same page. That one that was negated from a timeout, that pass, touchdown pass, that was bad. That was real bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's another one where, on the list of things that Josh McDaniels should be embarrassed about this year is that Bill Belichick replaces you with Matt Patricia and scores 24 points on you.
Right.
Now, he's done a good job, and I got to give kudos to Matt Patricia in some ways. They are 7-7, and they are, winning games with a defensive coordinator calling offensive plays.
Yeah.
It's unconventional, and I'm sure it's Bill Belichick trying to save some money for Robert Kraft. Because I'm sure he was trying to get Bill O'Brien back to be his offensive coordinator. He was like, no, I'll stay at Alabama. Um, by the way, let me just say this about Matt Collins. If he gritties one more time to down a punt at the 1 yard line, I'm going to lose my mind. Dude, stop doing that. Because then the defense just gives up a score. Like it doesn't mean anything. Yes, I mean it's a great special teams play, and AJ Cole is a great punter, and you are a great gunner to down and at the 1 yard line. But stop acting like that's going to be the end all be all. Like stop that, please.
I also think the gritty just needs to be outlawed. Like, take the gritty out of the cell. Like, I'm tired of the gritty.
Too.
It's been going on for like 3 years. Normally, what happens with these trends is they tend to fade away. Whether it's the whip and the nay or the dab or whatever it is, the gritty, it doesn't look cool. It's not a cool celebration. It no longer is the new thing. Everybody does it. So
you know who's the best at it?
Who?
Mike Gesicki.
No, he is not.
Because he gets it that it's stupid and he makes fun of it every time.
Right. Well, yeah, but it also looks dumb either way. Like, I'm done with the gritty. Just done with it.
No, I'm done with it too. We have a ton to talk about today, Steven, but just final thoughts on this game. It seems like we are mixed emotions because, yes, it's a great Raider win, and I'm sure a lot of Raider fans will be, joyous with this because it's crazy to go from thinking you're going to lose that game to then that happening.
Right.
But there are a lot of problems. There are a lot of problems, and you go either way with me on Patrick Graham at this point. He comes in with this illusion of complexity, and I don't think it's been incorporated at all. Now you could say that maybe they don't have the talent on defense to do it.
Yeah.
So you could go either way with me on that one. You could bring him back, or you could fire him. They're gonna bring back Josh McDaniels. It is what it is at this point, and I think that I need to see. Like, I was very impressed with this offense for the 3-game winning streak, but now they've reverted back to what they were for most of the season. So I need to see more creativity with the offense. I haven't seen a consistent show of creativity with Josh McDaniels' offense. And then with Derek Carr, I don't know. There are 3 games remaining. Let's see how he does, and then I'll give you my full opinion at the end of the season.
Yeah, like for right now, I'm thinking more just along the money side of things. You get rid of him, costs about $5.5 million. Like, I just think if you going forward, it looks like you could allocate your money elsewhere. Where I'm talking about is Josh Jacobs and possibly the interior of the offensive line. Like, I'm okay with Colton Miller, and Jermaine Illuminor has been pretty good these past few weeks, but the interior is just not very good. They don't have any depth there at all. And also this draft, you need to beef up the offense and both the offense and the defense in this draft, specifically the defense. I think you need to get someone on the defensive line too. There's just still, even though we were going into this season, like, dang, this Raiders offense could be one of the best in the NFL. It's pretty clear that they need more just overall as a team. Just more help. I don't know what it is, but there's too many to count.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need a better second wide receiver. I'm not talking about in the slot with Hunter Renfrow, who I don't think has been used properly this season, which is surprising because Josh McDaniels was the guy to use Wes Welker and Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola, and I think he has a hard time finding ways to get Hunter Renfrow open. But they need a better guy than Matt Collins, in my opinion. Like, Matt Collins is a good, backup wide receiver, but I don't like him in your starting rotation as far as we're coming out three wide receivers set and Matt Collins is on the field. I think you could do better than that.
I agree.
So, yeah, just final thoughts today, Steven. I mean, as far as the Raider game, it's a crazy ending. I'm not downplaying it. It's an amazing win, and hopefully it carries over. But still, a lot that needs to be worked out.
Yep. They need to make additions on the defense and the offense. That's really what my closing sentiment is. See, I mean, like, I don't know. It's not so much the why. Like, Matt Collins isn't supposed to be playing this role. It should have gone to Hunter Renfrow. Like, it shouldn't have. So I'm not blaming him. But there needs to be some sort of change made on the offensive side with the way how they do things. And then on the defensive side, they need to just get someone in the secondary, get a couple of safeties, get someone else opposite Nate Hobbs. Like, they just need a lot, man. They need a lot in order to become a good team and compete with these other ones.
But it doesn't need to be a full rebuild. They have pieces. They just need to add to it.
Right.
But I feel like if you get rid of Derek Carr, then you are doing a rebuild. And then, like, what are you telling Devontae Adams at that point? again, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go full on that idea yet. I understand the ramifications of paying Derek Carr. What is it, 34 million next season?
Yeah.
That's tough to swallow at this point because I don't think he's earned that. But then again, what else are you going to do? So let's see how these next 3 games go between the Pittsburgh Steelers, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Kansas City Chiefs. They don't need to win all 3 games. It'd be nice if they did, but they need to show something a little bit. So,
well, you're probably going to get in a situation where the Chiefs are just resting everybody because they might have a first-round bye in the AFC.
I'm not so sure about that because right now they are tied with the Buffalo Bills. And I think that in order to, and the Bills have the tiebreaker on them. So for them to maintain the number 1 seed or even get the number 1 seed, I think they got to win that game the last week of the season.
Okay, gotcha.
Let's go through the rest of the week that was with week 15 in the NFL.
Real quick. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
It's your show too.
One thing that I got to play though.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So if you want proof,
is this going to be a trailer?
No. If you want,
I've already seen the Barbie trailer, Steven. It looks good, honestly.
No, not the Barbie trailer.
Oh, I should have made that out loud then.
And it is a great trailer, but this is part of the reason too. I don't want a quarterback who has this attached to him. All right.
Is the hardest NFL quarterback to take down in the pocket? And then can you give me one who's just easily foldable like a lawn chair?
Dang, that's easy.
What are you gonna say?
Dang, who you said?
I have one. I have the second one in my head, but I don't know if you want to say it.
You see?
Might throw some shots at your boy, you know? I don't know.
Hey man, I'm not messing
I don't
with
want to
you.
get in trouble again.
I'm not gonna try the one on the far left.
Oh, you're going? Okay.
Go with a different one.
I feel like I should answer.
Just
this
eat a
one,
wing,
right?
bro.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna eat the one
Eat a
on
wing.
in
We
the
need to
middle.
be in
I'm gonna
this
eat this
together.
middle. I'm gonna eat the middle one.
Going for the middle.
Just because I know you wanted to answer that one. Boy.
Just to
pass
piss
that.
people off again.
I'm gonna pass that question to you.
Wait.
Dude, when Joey Bosa says stuff like that, I don't know. I'm just like easily foldable like a lawn chair immediately. And it's kind of true. Like Carr is that type of guy that's an easily sackable quarterback. And I'm watching guys like Justin Fields and all these guys just able to escape from pressure. It's just, I don't know. I saw that.
Yeah, but I'd rather have Derek Carr throwing passes than Justin Fields.
True.
Yeah, but Justin Fields can, Jalen Hurts made a huge jump this season. I think Justin Fields could do the same thing.
I did a terrible job of setting that up. I was really excited to play that, but that was Joey Bosa on.
Well, is that brand new?
No. Well, it's just released, but they recorded it before the season.
Yeah, but it was just released a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
How about Khalil not holding back either, just being like kind of biting his tongue, like he knows the answer to that question too.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
Bosa's
always
got him 3 times week 1.
Bosa's had struggles, man, staying on the field, but still, that's just the way that he's thought of around the league.
Yeah, I get that, and we'll see how much longer. I mean, Matthew Stafford, we'll see if he comes back next season. He's got the spinal cord thing. A lot of those guys are getting outdated now. Matt Ryan, we thought it was going to be a big pickup this offseason with the Colts, and I wouldn't be surprised if he retires. Same thing with Tom Brady. Looking bad last week against the Niners, and then looked terrible in the second half today against the Bengals. So that could be the case, Steven, that the league is going in a different direction as far as mobile quarterbacks. Before we talk about the Week 15 slate of games, World Cup. So we postponed the start of this podcast today because there was a thrilling match between France and Argentina. And Steven, I'll let you take it away. Was it the greatest World Cup final of all time?
This is one of them. It's hard to top 2006 with Italy and France, where
Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah, and then Italy.
I know my shit.
But they end up taking them to PKs and they win in penalties there.
Because I only know that because of Italy, and of course Zinedine Zidane's headbutting the dude.
Right. Well, how would I mean? Of course, that's what it's synonymous with. But this is certainly right up there, man. I don't know if there's any World Cup finals that live up to what just happened, where they tied it, within that span of time to make it a 2-2 game, and then just with it going to PKs and everything, and with how close it was with the goalies and the keepers and the shots they saved. I mean, shoot, France damn near won that thing with like 10 minutes to go. But in the end, the goalies kept them in it. But, by the time it got to PKs, yeah, man. And just with all the stakes too, like Kylian Mbappe, he's kind of the young up and coming superstar. I mean, he's not even up and coming. He's already the superstar. But then you still got Messi, who had yet to win the World Cup, and it feels like he's won every single award under the sun, except for maybe like an MLS Cup, which you could see soon. He's probably going to be playing for Inter Miami. But yeah, just seeing Messi win, and Angel Di Maria as well. He's been on that team for a very long time, and he's always been really good. So yeah, it was just the stakes that were riding on it. I thought it was awesome.
Well, I am glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad everybody enjoyed it, and I'm just glad that the game ended before football started at 10 a.m.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so you can watch Steelers, Jags, or whatever it was.
Steelers, Panthers, Steven, get it right.
Panthers. Yeah, my bad.
No, it was fun, and I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too. I, wasn't watching any pregame shows. I wanted to watch the World Cup and see how it ended, but it's interesting to me. Like I wanted, like if we got to the point where it was going to interfere with football, I was just going to see. I was wondering how Fox was going to do that because they love themselves, the Cowboys, and if they were going to, delay the start of that game, or if they were going to, put the World Cup on FS1. Like I would have loved to see how they were going to handle that situation.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it didn't happen, and I'm glad everybody got to see it. And yeah, it was fun. And we'll see it in another 4 years, hopefully during the summertime.
Yep. And Ernie knows what I'm talking about. There was multiple, and yeah, the big one though was with 1 minute to go, like at the 118th minute or whatever it was. Just insane.
As far as American football, let's go through the rest of Week 15. And it started on Thursday with the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And I picked the Seahawks to win, and you picked the Niners to win. And kudos to you, Steven, because Brock Purdy is getting the damn thing done, man. I am extremely impressed with this guy. He did not throw a pass the entire week. It was a short week, but he didn't throw a pass the whole week, and then threw some passes in pregame warm-up, went through a little bit of walk through in the team hotel, and then played the damn game. And he's very, crisp and very comfortable in the offense. And Christian McCaffrey had a fantastic game. I mean, like, I couldn't imagine where they'd be right now without Jimmy Garoppolo, without Deebo Samuel, without Elijah Mitchell if they didn't trade for Christian McCaffrey. And good on Brock Purdy for learning the offense and everything and being a great, Mr. Irrelevant, probably the best we've ever seen. But Christian McCaffrey, huge pickup to keep that offense going. And they didn't skip a beat. It was 21-13. I don't think it was even that close. Their defense dominated once again. This is going to be a defense, if they finish it, which is going to be hard with a rookie quarterback, but this is going to be an all-time great regular season defense, in my opinion, already. And yeah, Niners win the game, and they are NFC West champions. And at worst, they will be the 3rd seed in the NFC playoffs.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. There's this magic around Purdy right now. It's like even though he throws an interception, there's some sort of penalty on the other side, which negates that interception. Then he comes right back with a touchdown. It just seems to happen with him. But yeah, Purdy wasn't even the guy that I was looking at. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, he's just unbelievable. Like this dude was worth whatever they traded for, like, especially if they get all the way to the Super Bowl with him. The only thing is they are giving him a lot of touches, like really early on. Maybe not running the football a lot, but just as far as running and catching the football, I think he had 32 in total. But like a lot of those came in the first half. And I know like Jordan Mason, whatever McCaffrey called him like Mariano Rivera at the ending because he calls him the closer. But like, yeah, I think you got to get Jordan Mason in there a little bit earlier. But look, I guess that's the price you got to pay when Deebo Samuel's out. But yeah, man, it's also the defense, like just at every level. They got a stud at every level. It doesn't even matter. Along the defensive line, obviously Nick Bosa is the number one guy, probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. But then like Dre Greenlaw is playing just as well as Fred Warner is. Fred Warner's just, just an absolute missile. And then on the other side, you got Charvarius Ward, who played pretty damn well against DK Metcalf, and they're not getting burned too much on the other side with Diamador Lenore. And then at safety, you got Jimmy Ward, who's also playing nickel, and then you got Talanoa Hufanga. It's nonstop with that team. They're just so good, and they fly to the football. It's insane. Just every single time that the opposition gets the ball in their hands, there's just automatically like 3 or 4 guys surrounding him. It's crazy. Like that Dre Greenlaw forced fumble that just goes to show, man, like Jimmy Ward trying to make the tackle, but then Dre Greenlaw just coming in and punching the ball out of nowhere. It's just insane.
Dre Greenlaw with the last 2 games, incredible with the interception of Tom. Actually, the last 3 games, he had the touchdown against Miami that Nick Bosa forced, and he had the pick off of Tom Brady, and then he punches the ball out last week against the Seahawks, or this week, I should say. But just an amazing performance, and then Nick Bosa adds on to a sack total to lead the league and sacks with 15.5. So
the only thing is, like, I don't get, though, why offenses don't just at least try 1 deep shot per drive against them. Like, that's the only chance.
If they have time to throw it.
That's also true. But it's just like it seems like that's the only time that the Niners ever give up anything is when it's a chunk play.
Yeah.
But like they're just able to snuff out anything short. So it's like, what else can offenses do? I really don't have the answer. I mean, how can anyone have the answer? But to me, I'm just like, I don't know. Just give it a shot, I guess. Just throw it deep. Hopefully you make a catch. If not, okay, whatever. We tried.
Well, I think the biggest upgrade in our defense this offseason has been not only the growth of Talanoa Hufanga, but we've said it before in years past. Their, Achilles heel is their secondary. It happened in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. Richard Sherman was picked on. And then, Cooper Kupp in the NFC Championship game a year ago. The biggest upgrade to me has been Charvarius Ward in coverage. And I think that's what will separate them in the playoffs is can they shut down Justin Jefferson or A.J. Brown if they play those teams?
Right.
So it'll be interesting. And I think their toughest challenge will be next week for Christmas Eve against the Washington Commanders, who are kicking off right now, and we'll keep you updated with that game as it goes on. Just because I think they're very similar teams, and that could be the first time that Chase Young comes back. But just like the Raiders today, the Niners will have a 10-day, mini bye to get ready for that game. Also, going back to the Raider game real quick, another little thing that I was going to be pissed off about if they lost this game, they had 10 days to prepare for this, and they shit the bed against the Rams, and the Patriots play the Cardinals on Monday night. You have all the time in the world. The Patriots have so little time. It's the most, it's the biggest discrepancy in schedule time. So, but in the end, they win and they prevail. And Raiders win, Niners win. It's a good week. It's a great week of football.
The thing for the Niners, though, is also it's the offensive line. Like the 2 touchdowns that you got to Kittle, that doesn't happen without protection. Like, how much faith does Kyle Shanahan have in that offensive line to call that play?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to fake it there. We're going to fake it there. And then we're going to
Great play call, by the way. Great play call.
Going to go to Kittle down the middle. And then the other one where Kittle is essentially just waiting so he could break out of his route so he could go down the sideline. But Purdy has the time. Like, if in other instances, like that play doesn't always happen because the offensive line doesn't give you enough time in order for Kittle to actually break open on that.
Yeah.
So I think they get a lot of credit too for what they've done.
Oh, of course. And, D'Amico Ryan's another fantastic, performance schemed up by the defense. And I will be shocked if he does not get a head coaching job. I do expect him. If I had to say, and I know I've said this in previous podcasts, if I had to guess right now, I'm going to say that he's going to be the next head coach of the Houston Texans. I think that's a great fit for him. And obviously he played for them. So that's what I expect. But yeah, just a great job he's done. Kyle Shanahan has done. I think Kyle right now, like if you would have told me before who's the favorite for Coach of the Year, I would have said Pete Carroll, just because of the situation with trading Russell Wilson, releasing Bobby Wagner, you're starting anew, and I thought they were going to be a playoff team. And I think it's going to be very hard for them to make the playoffs now. So I'm going to take Pete Carroll's name out of the mix, even though he did an incredible job this season. But I think as far as the guys that are probably going to take their teams to the postseason, I would say Kyle Shanahan right now, in my opinion, is the front runner for Coach of the Year just because of all the injuries. He's had to deal with 3 different starting quarterbacks this season. and that's impressive in itself. So I would say that my front runner for Coach of the Year probably is Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan will be right up there. Maybe Zach Taylor for the Bengals, the way that he's coached them back to where they're at now. I don't know.
But I mean, they were Super Bowl team a year ago. It's not really any surprise.
Right. But yeah, no, I mean, Kyle Shanahan's probably right up there. How many head coaches would be able to take their third string quarterback and make him look like a veteran? Especially a rookie that was Mr. Irrelevant, which apparently he hates. So yeah, I don't know.
He hates what? That name?
Yeah.
Brock Purdy?
Yeah, probably.
Well, I mean, everybody with that status probably hates that.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't want to be called that, especially now. And not after these 3 games.
Very relevant.
Yes, he's more relevant than a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Yes. And who knows? Maybe they will be the 3rd seed or the 2 seed. I don't think they're getting the 1 seed.
Nah.
But
I mean, well, that all hinged on the Vikings and what they were doing yesterday.
If you looked at some Twitter accounts, though, people anointed the Niners with the 2nd seed when that game was 33-0. That's why you wait till the game is over, my friend. Colts were up 33-0. And then they shit the game, and the Vikings come back. And the Niners go back down to the 3rd seed. Now, Steven, I know this sounds crazy, and I know they're probably going to call bullshit on this. I did think there was a possibility that the Vikings could go back in that game, just because it's 33-0 at halftime. That's so much time to come back. Like, I know we make fun of the Raiders with how many blown leads they've had, but how many teams blew leads this week? A ton.
A lot.
The Bills are not a good second half team. The Cowboys pissed away a lead in the second half today. Obviously, the Colts. It happens a lot in the NFL. No team is safe with a 2-touchdown lead. With the way the passing game is these days, you can come back just like that. So I thought the Vikings have a very good passing game, but Kirk Cousins was looking like crap the first half. He threw that pick 6. But then Justin Jefferson took over, and God, man, it was an incredible comeback victory for the Minnesota Vikings, down 33-0, to come back, and they had to deal with that bullshit call with Chandon Sullivan.
Well, I'll say, though, that teams may not be safe from a 2-touchdown lead, but a lot of teams are safe with a 5-touchdown lead.
Yes. And it was funny, if you heard the post-game interview with Kirk Cousins, he was talking to Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson in the halftime just said, well, we're only down by 5 touchdowns. And he thought it was like a joke, and he was like, are you serious? Like, yeah, that's a lot. But they came back, and they won that game. It is the largest comeback in NFL history.
Yeah.
Not the greatest. Listen, great comeback by the amount of points. It's better by 1 point than the Bills and Oilers in 1992. I still would say that's the greatest comeback of all time, considering that it was a backup quarterback and Frank Reich leading that performance, and also it was the playoffs. I think Tom Brady's comeback in the Super Bowl is better. I think Andrew Luck's comeback against the Chiefs is better. I think the 49ers comeback against the Giants 20 years ago was better. Nevertheless, this was a great regular season comeback, fun game. God, Matt Ryan, to be a part of the biggest collapse in Super Bowl history and the biggest collapse in regular season history, he's got to eat at you a little bit, but I don't think it was his fault.
Right.
Jeff Saturday, whew. Great attempt to be a head coach. I doubt he gets that job now, and he's going to have to go back to television and try to make people forget about him as a head coach.
Right. Yeah. That was, it was the largest comeback in history. And the thing that gets me every time, though, is like when I was watching that, how many times did we see the receivers on the Colts just like in the second half? It was never catching the ball beyond the first down marker. It was always whenever it was third down, it was always catching the ball and then trying to fight for a first down. It's just like throw a pass farther than 5 yards. It's like, I don't know why teams don't bother doing that. At least like, okay, if you're going to go, let's just say you have, I don't know, let's say you have 5 drives in the second half. I don't know, maybe 5. Let's just say you have 5. At least one, be aggressive in one of them and try to be aggressive instead of waiting until the very end.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to come back to you, man. And then, of course, defensively, there were a couple of times there were the times where the Vikings got the better of them and all that, but still, just an unreal game, dude. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
I was so punch drunk off of that game, I couldn't even pay attention to Ravens and Browns. And that game wasn't great in itself, but Deshaun Watson gets his first win in the Brown Stadium.
Right.
That was all time. Just the Vikings performance, and we'll see if Justin Jefferson managed to get 2,000 yards by the end of the season. Vikings clinch the NFC North. They win their division. So just, I still, if I had to map it out as far as the NFC, I'm still saying the Niners are better than that team, just because I think you can focus on the fact that they gave up that first half lead to the Colts, and the Colts, I don't know what to make of them. Like on paper, they should be a better team what they are, but then they collapse like that in the second half. So yeah, I'm not ready to say like it was impressive win by the Vikings and they're resilient, and they've I don't think they've been blown out. Well, besides the Cowboys game and the Eagles game,
Right.
and I guess last week against the Lions. But they stay in most games, and they're going to be an interesting team in the playoffs, I would say. But I don't think that I would take them against the Niners or Eagles at this point.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't at all. I think the Niners and the Eagles are the only two teams in the NFC that anyone needs to worry about. Like Cowboys,
Even with Brock Purdy.
even with Brock Purdy, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Like I think he's proven with all the talent around him. Like I don't know. The Vikings don't really do it for me. It's really the Niners and the Eagles to me in the NFC.
So you're on the Cowboys too after what happened today?
Yeah, I don't know. There's something up with the Cowboys. Of course, they're great on defense or whatever, but there's something about them where they just give up that big play, or they're just somehow the momentum just shifts in the complete opposite direction. I don't know. And then Mike McCarthy is a head coach too. So I just think that the Eagles and the Niners, it's those two teams in the NFC, and then it's the field, to be honest. And if you had to tell me like who's going to be if you're going to tell me like who's going to be the NFC representative in the Super Bowl, Niners, Eagles, or the field, like I don't know. I'm probably picking between the Niners and the Eagles. It's really hard to choose between those two.
No, I get that. Just as far as the last game on Saturday night, Bills and Dolphins, and this was a lot more high scoring than I thought it was going to be. The snow didn't come into effect until the fourth quarter, and it was awesome just watching all that snow come down. It helped out the Dolphins for the first 3 quarters. I think they benefited from the sleek field, and they were able to run the football with Raheem Mostert. That was the difference in the game for the first half. Josh Allen was on point the first half, getting that touchdown pass as time expired. But then, as the Bills kind of do, they kind of sleptwalk offensively in the second half and gave up the lead. And then Josh Allen just went into MVP mode, Superman mode, scored that 2-point conversion, which I thought was a fumble, but I guess he grazed the pylon or just the front of the end zone. I wonder about the Bills. I still don't like the fact that they are a hardcore, like everything is just, let's throw it deep. Let's get a big play every single play. And sometimes you just need to dump it down or run the ball a little bit. And they run the ball at the appropriate times, but for a team, like they had home field advantage last night, but if it's going to pour snow like it does, they got to be able to run the football. And I don't know like Josh Allen has been very impressive, but I don't know if I trust him enough to throw in the snow like that all the time.
Right.
So I don't know if they can get away winning like that all the time with him as a leading rusher and him, getting body blows like that. They have a great defense. I wonder how they'll do without Von Miller. Pretty much locked up the division. They still need to clinch it next week, but very impressive win by the Bills. But I'm still kind of iffy if I know if I'm going to go with them as far as the leaders in the clubhouse for the AFC.
They're not a very deep team as far as the offense goes. It's like Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and then Gabe Davis is great, and their offensive line is awesome.
Well, you forgot about the addition of your favorite guy, Cole Beasley.
Oh yeah, my guy. And then I don't know, just other than that, it doesn't seem like they have like a ton of weapons on offense, except for guys Stephon Diggs can do everything, but Gabe Davis, it seems like his strength is just going deep and scoring the home run. Dawson Knox finally coming alive. It's been forever since the season. They're going to need him heavily, but yeah, you said it though. It's like in the second half, if you got a big lead, you can't run the ball. Like you can't do it with Devin Singletary. You can't just run the clock out with Devin Singletary, and it just doesn't always work out that way. So I still trust the Bills because I think Josh Allen is that good. But to me, like if I'm looking at the AFC right now, and I know we're going to get to this next slate of games, but to me, even though after today's outcome, like to me, it's looking like it's almost shaping up to be a rematch of the 2019 Super Bowl. Like that's kind of where my head's at after these last few weeks.
So between the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Bengals, you like the Chiefs the best?
Yeah, I'd say so. Just because it's just, Patrick Mahomes has these games like where they're almost like the worst of his career, yet they're still able to come back and win. I mean, I don't know how that was today for him, but I know it was the previous week. It's like, how many times does he throw 3 interceptions in one game? Rarely ever happens. And I don't know what his numbers were today, but I don't know. It just feels like those are the teams that that team just never says quit. Okay, yeah, today was good. 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then no interception. So he was fine today. But yeah, just to me, overall, Chiefs and the Bills maybe in the AFC Championship, but it's those 3 teams though: Chiefs, Bengals, Bills.
Well, here's the thing. If the Bengals win out, what are they right now? So they are, I think the Bengals have 4 losses. So
Yeah, they do. They're 10-4 right now.
10-4, and the Chiefs are 11-3, and so are the Buffalo Bills. If the Bengals win out, they would be 1 game better than the Bills, and they would be head-to-head because they face each other, I think, the second to last week on Monday Night Football. And the Chiefs would have to lose 1 more game. I think it's impressive that the Bengals possibly could have beaten – they've already beaten the Chiefs, and they beat them 3 straight times. But I will be very interested to see what happens in that Week 17 game between the Bills and the Bengals. If the Bengals are able to win that game, it'll be interesting if they are able to somehow get the number 1 seed.
Yeah, no, I agree. And woo, but it's like, yeah, it's those 3 teams and everyone else. Like that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, basically, yeah. Like the Titans now, I'm not really buying them. Let's talk about the Cowboys and Jaguars real quick, just because that was, we talked about the Cowboys today. What's the biggest lead they had? It was a pretty close game for the most part. Well, they were up 24-10, and then the Bengals or the Jaguars came back in that game, and Jaguars don't go away, and they've been very impressive to me. Trevor Lawrence has been on a tear. Dak Prescott throws that pick 6, and the Jaguars win that game 40-34 in overtime. And yeah, I've been very impressed with Trevor Lawrence. Like we said earlier, I think that the Jaguars are going in the right step where I would want to see with the way that the Raiders season has gone. I was hoping that was what we were going to see from them. But it seems like the Jaguars are probably going to be like, if with the Titans, the way that they're kind of fading away a little bit right now, I still pick them to win the division. But going forward, I think the strongest team out of the AFC South is probably going to be the Jaguars.
Yeah, you might be right. The Jags are they're really hitting their stride right now. And some of these throws that Trevor Lawrence makes, just fitting him into tight windows, he has just really come into his own. Happy for Zay Jones. I think that guy got a kind of raw deal with the Raiders where maybe they should have given him an extension, but, you had to pay for Devontae Adams, and I totally get it. So I'm glad to see him doing well. But yeah, in that overtime, though, like the way that Trevor Lawrence just is able to, it's not even just overtime, during regulation, the way that he's able to conduct touchdown drives, like this dude is very poised and he doesn't seem to get flustered too much. And I think that's what you'd want, like 4 touchdowns thrown today. And looking at him right now, when you're in the comeback after he threw the interception, so they go 3 plays for 75 yards, obviously that big one to Zay Jones. And then after
Zay
that,
Jones, man.
Zay Jones is feeling it. And then after that, it was just, what was it? A touchdown straight up when they were on Dallas's 10 because they got the interception. Then after that, it was 8 plays, 75-yard drive with an unbelievable throw to Christian Kirk. And then, it's just nonstop with this team. So I don't know. They're really hitting their stride right now.
They definitely are. I think this was his, coming out party, even though we know who he is and he's had great games before. Like he had the comeback win against the Baltimore Ravens earlier this year, and he had the performance last week against the Titans. This was his finest performance yet, to beat the Cowboys on a nationally televised game. This was huge, and people made fun of Doug Peterson the way he left the Eagles, and now what the shit show that it was with Urban Meyer a year ago. I think the Jaguars are going in the right direction, and like I said, I think we were talking about the quarterbacks in the AFC, and if Derek Carr can fit in, Trevor Lawrence, I think, could be right up there with the Josh Allens and the Joe Burrows and the Patrick Mahomes, and with years to come.
Yeah, as long as they continue to build around him and
Yeah.
maybe get like I don't know, Zay Jones and Christian Kirk have never been like number one receivers to me. If they get him like a clear number one, I mean, I don't know.
Calvin Ridley.
Oh, Calvin Ridley's coming back. Yeah, but I don't know what to expect from him. It's been 2 years.
You could bet on him.
Okay.
All right. As far as the other games today, yeah, the Chiefs came back to beat the Houston Texans. The Texans just put up a fight the last 2 weeks, but they don't really have they're not used to winning. So I think that's what it came down to the last 2 weeks, coughing up that game against the Cowboys, and they fumbled in overtime today to lose to the Chiefs. So
Right.
Chiefs then go on to win for the 7th straight year in a row for the AFC West, and man, it's not surprising, but considering how hyped up the AFC West was as a division this offseason with all the moves that were made between Devontae Adams going to the Raiders, Russell Wilson going to the Broncos, Khalil Mack going to the Chargers, and so many other names. And the Chiefs, get additions by subtractions by adding Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, but of course they lost Tyreek Hill, and in the end they don't skip a beat. They've won their 7th straight consecutive AFC West, so I think everyone still needs to figure out how to beat that team, and Steven, you are saying that you're going to still pick them as the favorite in the AFC.
Yeah, I think so. It's just Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's it. Just Mahomes. That's it. No other reason.
Fair enough. Philadelphia squeaks by the Chicago Bears. The Bears put up a fight in that game. No one could stop Jalen Hurts on a goal-to-go situation. It's just the QB sneak that's unstoppable at this point between how big Jalen Hurts is and the Eagles' offensive line, and it'll be interesting to see what happens between them and the Niners if they do meet up in the NFC Championship game. I think that both teams have probably the 2 best pass rushers in all of football. But I still wonder about Jalen Hurts. He had some missed throws today, but he has progressed from where he was a season ago in that playoff game where he couldn't throw to anybody against the Buccaneers to now. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown help a lot, but he's turned into, I don't know if he's going to win MVP, but he's had a fantastic performance this season.
He's right up there, though. That connection with AJ Brown, like as far as like quarterback wide receiver connections goes, I think they had 2 big plays today. Obviously, that big touchdown with AJ Brown, but he's if anything, I mean, is there even a most improved player award in the NFL?
No.
Okay.
Comeback player
of the year. All right, I don't know about that. But
yeah, I mean, it's hard to say he's comeback player of the year. Yeah, most improved. If there was a Jordan Poole snub, I would give that to Jalen Hurts this season.
yeah,
Comeback player of the year. I would have said Geno Smith, but now he's kind of going back to the old Geno.
yeah, fading away. And that game also, it could have been 28-20 easily if Jake Elliott made a field goal.
Yeah, I needed that in fantasy today. As far as the other games, we'll just wrap up here a little bit. The Tennessee Titans and the Chargers. We talked about the Titans having a 4-game losing streak, and they lost Ryan Tannehill for a little bit of time, but he came back in that game. Justin Herbert, I mean, that's what we're talking about as far as upgrading the quarterback position. Justin Herbert with an amazing throw towards the sideline to Mike Williams to get them in field goal range. You wonder if, it really wouldn't matter in the end, but I wondered if Mike Vrabel was going to out Brandon Staley by going for 2 when he scored that touchdown.
Yeah.
But Brandon Staley, give kudos to him, man. That Chargers team has played a lot better on defense, and rumors are that Sean Payton wants that job, and it's going to be interesting to see if they go on a playoff run or, I would say right now they're going to be a playoff team, but if they're an early first-round exit, are they going to be willing to, go forward with Brandon Staley, or do they want to upgrade and, because Chargers are playing great right now, but actually I shouldn't say that. They're playing good. They're not playing great. They could be playing better football. I think there's a lot of talent on that team that can make them a lot better, and Sean Payton could be that guy. But just as far as the here and now, Chargers, great win over the Titans, and Titans are slipping a little bit.
Yeah, and that pass to Mike Williams that you mentioned, the thing that I really liked about it was just, and it shows that this team's really buttoned up, is just Mike Williams immediately getting the ball to the ref, not tossing it to him, running, handing the ball to him so he could get it down so he could all get it spiked and so he could kick the field goal. Like that just proves right there that the Chargers are they're pretty well-oiled machine, and they were without Derwin James today. So that's also something to monitor also.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then the other game, I picked Tampa Bay in this game, and I don't know why I did, but it looked good in the first half, up 17-0 on the Bengals, and then the Buccaneers just started pooping down their leg in the second half. 4 turnovers, I think, in the second half. I want to get that right real quick. just to
Yeah, I
make
think
sure.
well, it was one of them with the handoff that was just ugly.
Yeah, and then like a fake punt with Giovanni Bernard that he wasn't even aware he was getting. Bengals go into Tampa and kick their ass, and Bucks will probably finish as the NFC South division winner just by default, and this will probably be a sad ending to Tom Brady's career. But yeah, man, Bengals look like a team that could be doing some damage in the AFC once again.
This is the saddest second half I've seen in quite a while when it comes to drive by drive. Okay, for the Buccaneers on offense,
Go for it.
turnover on downs, interception, fumble, interception, punt, and then a touchdown.
Just in garbage time.
Just in garbage time when the game's out of reach and they're up 34-17. And oh, by the way, after every single one of those turnovers, the Bengals scored a touchdown. Woo.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a ton of that game, obviously, because I was locked in on the Raiders. I had them on red zone. So I was like looking back and forth, but I was just like, how do the Bengals keep coming back like this? It also got me a win in fantasy. What might have.
Well, I'm happy for you as I won both in my the Tickle My Butthole league you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the 95-7 league.
Oh, okay. Did you make the playoffs with the Team WAP?
Yeah, but then I lost.
Ah, damn, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I lost today. So that's unfortunate, but I just beat Guru, and I don't think that I didn't want to text him because I had Zay Jones going off, and he's a Cowboy fan, so I just didn't want to like pile on. I'm gonna.
Oh, you should have.
I'll text him tomorrow.
Guru could take it.
I'll text him tomorrow.
I'm doing the tallies right now for our picks this week, and we didn't record these, but we did them over text between you and I. And let's see.
So how quickly do you write things down, and how do you read that stuff?
Check out my handwriting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm able to read my own handwriting, Steven, because I wrote it. But I have noticed as I'm getting older, I don't use a pen and paper as much as I used to back in the day. So my handwriting has been abysmal as I gotten older.
Right. Gotcha. It just looked like, I'm not even gonna say anything. It looked like you I don't know.
I sent a picture of my picks to Steven saying, hopefully you can make this out. And he gave me shit the whole time, like, oh, your handwriting's terrible. I'm like, thanks. You remind me of Miss Pizzatola in 3rd grade.
I didn't give you that much. I just it was a couple. There was one where you totally scribbled something out and you expected me to read it.
Yeah, I clarified. So as of right now, Steven, not to go through all of our picks, we didn't even pick any Saturday games because we were just too busy in the morning and we just ended up watching the games. You were leading by 3 right now, 18-15.
Gotcha.
And I think you're going to win because we don't have much different after that. We both picked Washington. You think the Giants are going to cover. I don't know if I can catch you, so shit.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
It always is what it is. Warriors get off a losing streak. They just beat the Toronto Raptors. So Steph Curry out for a couple of weeks, which sucks.
Yeah, I'm not feeling good about that one.
Yeah. You probably won't see him Christmas Day against the Memphis Grizzlies. You think Steph Curry's back by the time the Niners play in their first playoff game?
Ooh. Well, when would that be?
January 14th.
I'm going to go. Yeah, I'll say yeah. Yeah,
I think so.
Well, I mean, because you get one report that says like he'll miss a few weeks, and then you get one that says, well, it's just going to be 2, but then you hear it's going to be reevaluated in 2, and also there was a chance that he was going to get surgery, and they were contemplating that based off the MRI. I don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling. So I'll say yes, just to be the optimist, but it doesn't sound too promising right now.
Yeah, I would say that it'll probably take about 3 weeks because as we know how the Warriors roll with Rick Scalabrine, it is sorry. No, I'm thinking of Brian Scalabrine. Who's their doctor?
Celebrini.
Celebrini.
You were close. I just thought you mispronounced it. It's all good.
Well, you're quick to tell me I, don't pronounce my T's, but you gotta get the names right here.
I mean, if you listen to these past podcasts, I've stopped doing that. You still call them the Titans and the I don't know, Twitter.
I do. I do not say Dwitter. Dwiddle D and Dwiddle Dum.
Yeah.
I think that the way that the Warriors usually go about doing things is that a guy will be out for that set amount of time, and then he'll be really reevaluated after that time. So
right.
I'm going to assume it's 3 weeks, and we'll see Steph Curry probably around that time when the Niners are playing in their first playoff game.
Okay. Yeah.
But they got off the schneid. They lost 3 in a row. Who do they have next? So they just beat Toronto, and then they got, I want to say, the Knicks and the Nets.
Correct. You are correct.
So we'll see about that, and that kind of sucks because I was hoping to see Steph Curry play against Kevin Durant once again.
Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate, and the Nets are rolling right now, so that's gonna be a tough matchup. But we'll see. I mean, they've won 6 in a row, so that's not gonna be easy. But Jordan Poole, first career 40-point game, so you're gonna need that. Klay Thompson. First couple of games when Steph was out, decided that he's going to just jack up every shot that he could possibly get. But tonight he had a few assists. Draymond Green, knocking down threes. You're going to need all that in order to win.
Yeah, you're definitely going to need all that. All right. I think that's it. I think we covered everything from the crazy Raider win to everything that happened this weekend, football-wise. So we'll see you guys back on Wednesday.
Looks
good,
like
good with you, Steven.
Looks like we were sent the radio call of the play. If you want to play that,
we were sent to it by Ernie.
Yeah, I mean, you want me to get to it?
Sure, I would love to hear it.
All right, let me get to it right here. Let me pull that up.
By the way, Giants and Commies 0-0 at the moment in the first quarter.
Just a barn burner of a game.
Kind of what could you expect between these two teams?
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Mac Jones hands it off on a draw to Ramondre Stevenson, breaks out of a tackle at the 50, has the 45, breaks away from another tackle, pitches it backwards, and now Jacoby Myers spinning around. He throws it to Chandler Jones in midfield, and a stiff arm. Chandler Jones racing towards the end zone. He scores! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
I can't believe what I just saw.
Again!
I can't believe what I just saw. This is unbelievable. Wow.
On the first night of Hanukkah, it's a miracle in Las Vegas.
That audio courtesy of Compass Media Networks.
Jason my man Dave Sniff probably. Jason Horowitz, good fellow Jew there, referencing the first night of Hanukkah. Voice cracked a little bit, and I love my man Link going Jack Buck. I don't believe what I just saw.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, fun call. I mean, in the moment, you're not going to do Bill King, but very reminiscent of the Holy Roller a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. And Hanukkah reminds me of Smokey Robinson and the thing where he calls it
Chinooka.
Chinooka.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's a fun call and a very memorable Raider win, but we'll see if it's a memorable Raider season as we continue on. So happy Hanukkah, especially to Kanye West and Kyrie Irving. So yeah. Steven, say what you always say, my friend.
It's just our opinion, man.